Hi everybody, this is Michael Hildebrandt and I'm your host on the Sleeptrust podcast, where I'm talking about how to gain back trust in your ability to have a superb sleep again. In this week's episode of the Sleeptrust podcast, we're going to talk about the number one thing that you need to do if you want to return back to superb sleep. And this number one thing that you need to do is actually to change. And today I'm going to show you not only which aspects you can and want to change, but also the exact steps how you can start to implement change successfully today without any pain or confusion involved. And it doesn't matter if you feel that you're in a space that you are afraid that this could be too exhausting, or that you're afraid that you're not going to follow through things that you want to change, or just don't want to move out of your comfort zone, because the process I'm going to walk you through is going to be easy, joyful, and it's going to get you motivated because you're going to start seeing results right away. So our starting point today is a very simple formula that I call the Sleeptrust sleep formula. And it's only got 3 parts in this equation that you need to understand. And the first is your sleep quality. That's one part of the equation, equals your current circumstances multiplied with your current behaviors. So I'll repeat it again. Your sleep quality equals your current circumstances multiplied with your current behaviors. So let's say you have bad circumstances for what reason ever, and you've also got kind of bad sleep behaviors, then you're going to have a bad sleep quality. It also means if you change one of these parts in the equation that your sleep quality will raise. But what it means essentially for us today is that if you do not change anything in this equation, your sleep quality will not change. And that is coming back to the topic of this podcast, our starting point. If we want to improve our sleeps, we need to improve something on the right side of the equation, which is our current circumstances or our current behaviors. So let's have a look at these 2 parts. The circumstances are a little bit tricky, so sometimes it's very easy to change them. Like, if you don't like your bedroom, you can just change it. That's a circumstance. You can buy a new cushion, you can, renovate your entire bedroom and make it comfortable for you. So that's a thing that you can do, and you would just give yourself a check. Let's say you would have had lost a finger. Nothing sleep related here, but that finger's gone. There's no way that finger is going to grow back again. And maybe you could put in a lot of effort and get sophisticated people to get something like a finger built back to your hand, but you would really have to see the trade-off here. And often in those cases, it's simply better to accept the circumstance, not to fight against it, just to accept it and to kind of build everything else around that. Because even if you have bad circumstances, you can change very much through your behavior. And the behavior part is super good for us because we are 100% in control of our behavior. Somebody gave us the ability, unlike other animals, to consciously decide what we want to do. And the behavior is nothing else than a conscious decision to do something that we repeat that often until it gets unconscious. And that's kind of the trick here. We want to recalibrate our autopilot. 95% of our behavior over the course of the day, the weeks, the month, the year are unconscious. So we are flying through our lives on autopilot, which is a fantastic feature. That way we only need to take conscious decisions when they're actually really needed. And the thing here is that you want to understand that if you don't do anything, if you don't trigger active change, the formula sleep quality equals current circumstances multiplied with current behaviors will not change because you're running on autopilot. So what we are going to do today is that I will share 5 essential steps with you that will get you started to recalibrate, reprogram your autopilot with ease to get you back on track to superb sleep. And just to give you a little bit of context around all of this, what we're talking about here is the building block of each coaching. It doesn't matter if you're in a small coaching group, if it's a one-on-one, if it's an online program. Each coaching starts with a mindset block, and this is an essential part of this mindset block. So there are two other blocks above that we kind of work through the process when going back from bad sleep to superb sleep. And what comes over the mindset block is kind of a practice block where we kind of figure out what's good for your body, your nutrition, your mind. This is the sleep triathlon. There's a couple of podcasts out there that I shared with you to give you a little bit of meat, flesh around the bone there. And if that's done and when that's done, then we go to get things habitual, get healthy rituals, and set you up for superb sleep. And before I move on from here, I just want to remind you that you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram for free, where we are publishing content every single day. And on Facebook, there's even a Facebook Live that goes along with this podcast once a week, every Sunday, where I walk through one particular aspect of a podcast and do a deep dive with you together. So consider doing that, and best you hit the pause button if you're not following us already, and just go into Facebook and Instagram, search for Sleeptrust. You'll find us there and follow us right away. That way you can't forget it later on. And it's also a good place to get in touch with me. And many of our listeners do this. So thank you so much. If you are somebody who reached out to me and we're in contact, then I just want to let you know over this channel, I really appreciate every single feedback and every single question I get. But now let's walk through that 5-step process that will get you going today. Step number 1 is to accept the sleep formula. If you don't accept that your sleep quality equals your current circumstances multiplied with your current behaviors, then you are not ready to go yet. Because if you don't acknowledge that you have to change something on the right side of the equation, then nothing will happen. So acknowledge that, and you're done with step 1. Step 2 is to choose one thing that you know is not serving your sleep right now. Simply choose one. That's it. Step number 3 is to choose one thing that you will use to replace that bad thing. So you're going to choose something that is enjoyable for you. You don't want to pick something that you don't like to do or that will be too hard. You are going to pick something enjoyable that you're going to replace the old thing through. And it doesn't matter if we're talking about a circumstance here or if we're talking about a habit. And mostly we want to change our habits. Step number 4 is that you want to visualize the process. You're going to sit down for 3 to 5 minutes and just visualize how it will look like when you replace that bad thing that you picked through an enjoyable good thing in the future. Really run through that process in your head, and if it doesn't feel right, tweak that thing. You might want to choose something else. Maybe the thing that you picked in first place wasn't that enjoyable after all. So pick something that is really good fit. And when you feel that you are in line with your idea, then we're going to come to the 5th and last step. And this is to take committed action. So you want to commit yourself to replace this thing that you chose through a new thing. And you wouldn't want to get really concrete here. So you want to set up a time frame that you're going to do this. If you cannot commit to doing this an entire year, then think about committing doing this a month, a week, 3 days, 1 day, whatever. Pick a period that you know that you can and will follow through. And that way you will build up trust in the things that you say that you're going to do. You're going to build up sleep trust on that path. And it's going to make things in future so much easier because you will get a very good feeling for things that you can commit to do and things that are just too big or not right for you to do. So those are the 5 steps. And to get you started right away, I put together the sleep formula and the 5 steps that I walked you through here in a PDF document that you can download for free at sleeptrust.eu. So go visit sleeptrust.eu, have a look at the show notes to this week's episode, and you'll find a link to that PDF that you can download for free. And if you print this sheet, put the formula somewhere and have a look at that every day, your unconscious will start to think about what it can do for you, come up with ideas of things that you can change. And this is just so powerful. So even if it sounds a little bit hokey to you right now, believe me, trust the process, print it, have a look at it every day, and accept that you have to change to improve your sleep quality. That's just a mathematical law. With that, let's wrap up this week's episode of the Sleeptrust podcast. If you want to improve your sleep quality, then the number one thing that you need to do is to change. The foundation for this change is the sleep formula that says that your sleep quality equals your current circumstances multiplied with your current behavior. Walk through the 5-step process and start to do this today. To help you, download your free cheat sheet at sleeptrust.eu that you will find in the show notes of this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed yourself and that you tune in next week when we are going to talk about sleep resilience. Until then, have a superb sleep. Hey there, and thanks for listening to the Sleeptrust podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you want to get further information on this podcast or material that will help you to gain back your sleep trust, please check out sleeptrust.eu. That's sleeptrust.eu, where you will get lots of information around sleep. And here comes some legal stuff. Everything on this podcast is my opinion only, so do not take it as an advice, as I am not a doctor, nor have I considered your personal situation. If you feel that you need medical advice, please consider getting an appointment at your doctor of trust. If you want to give me any kind of feedback on this podcast, feel free to email me at podcast@sleeptrust.eu. I hope you tune in again next week, and until then, have a good sleep.